Tonight, Forever Broken, a family's tribute to the young firefighter who died helping others a day after Christmas. Exclusive suburban raid. Heavily armed police move in on a home in Perth's north. A major Perth highway shut as a fire takes hold. A dramatic air and sea search near Rockingham after a man fell overboard. The shock death of celebrity chef Bill Granger, the Aussie who left his mark on the world. And Pat Cummins rattles Pakistan as Australia takes control of the second test.
Live from Perth, 7 News with Tim McMillan.
Good evening. The family of a young firefighter who died trying to protect others from a raging bushfire say they're forever broken. Harry Stead died after falling from a vehicle in the fireground. It happened the day after he celebrated Christmas with his family.
Harry Stead lost his life defending homes and properties from fire. A day of hell, Esperance locals called it, for no one more so than Harry's family. Our hearts are broken and our family is forever broken at the utter devastation of losing our beloved Harry. He's the first firefighter to die on a WA fireground in 8 years.
I've had so much reach in from across the country, from other fire and emergency service agencies to offer their thoughts to the young firefighter's family and those people involved.
Harry was part of a crew working with private firefighting gear from his family farm. Police are investigating exactly what happened.
This is going to impact fairly massively against the community. The family is well known.
Harry's from a well-respected farming family. His father, Simon Stead, is the chair of the CBH Group Grain Cooperative. They just shared a wonderful Christmas day. A family mourning a young man who was kind, fun-loving and active and always there to help with family and with community. He loved his footy, spending the last couple of seasons playing for University, a larger-than-life character with an infectious personality. He was much adored by his clubmates. Harry Stead's family says there was a lot in life he loved, including his time boarding here at Hales School. So much so, this year he returned to work as duty master in the boarding house.
To lose someone so young protecting the community is a tragedy.
One that's hitting the firefighting community hard. Condolences coming from around the world and every corner of WA. Volunteer fire brigades grieving. Thoughts, love and thanks coming from those who know oh so well the perils of the fireground. Sadly, Harry Stead's family now know them as well. Rory Campbell, 7 News.
Fire caused the closure of Tonkin Highway in Gosnells this afternoon. The fire broke out in scrub near Champion Lakes, sending a large amount of smoke across the road. 2 heli-tacs and a fixed-wing water bomber were called in to fight the flames from the air as crews worked on the ground. It took around 40 minutes to bring the blaze under control. The closure sparked traffic delays for about 20 minutes. Firefighters in Henderson were battling a blaze that came close to buildings. A car was destroyed in the fire on Anderson Way as flames spread through trees and grass. Crews used bolt cutters to open a gate to a storage yard to get better access. A fisherman fell overboard, sparking a major rescue off Perth South when his boat was entangled by an unmarked craypot near the Garden Island Causeway Bridge. He had to swim for shore at Point Perrin, while his mate and wife feared the worst and called for help.
And he got washed up the rocks. He's got cuts and stuff all over him, but he's fine. He's fine. He's fine.
And grateful.
And grateful.
A boat that went to his aid broke down too, but tonight everyone is safe and back on dry land. A police manhunt is underway tonight for an armed gunman who carried out a violent home invasion in Armidale early Christmas morning. Officers have already arrested his accomplice and are taking no chances in the race to find him.
Heavily armed police arrive in a Bearcat on Boxing Day, searching for 2 men who carried out a 2 a.m. Christmas Day home invasion armed with a gun.
This is the police. All occupants number 32. Come to the front door. Do it now.
Tactical Response Group officers take no chances, training their sights on the front door of this Madeley home, prepared for the prospect whoever was inside could have a weapon. But by the time they'd arrived, the pair had already fled. This morning, police returned to the Emily Loop address, cuffing one occupant of the home before questioning her and searching the home and her vehicle thoroughly for evidence. The woman was released without being charged.
Armidale detectives are leading the investigation. In addition to them and the TRG, a third squad, the High Harm Offender Unit, has been brought in to track down the pair quickly.
Already, police have arrested a man in his 20s over the home invasion. Tonight, his armed accomplice is still on the run. Ben Downey, 7 News.
Australian celebrity chef Bill Granger has died in a London hospital after a short battle with cancer. The 54-year-old is being remembered for taking Aussie breakfast classic Avo on toast to the world.
At the packed Sydney cafe that bears Bill Granger's name, they served Bill's food.
Delicious.
With a side of sentiment.
I think everyone's come down to say goodbye. The scrambled eggs, the ricotta hotcakes, the corn fritters. So yeah, he's left a big legacy.
Very big. Avocado on toast, that's his.
Coriander on there. Again, it's just that freshness.
Revolutionised the breakfast game in Australia and Sydney particularly, but then has taken that around the world.
The New York Times and the Washington Post have traced the origins of avocado toast to me. Now, it seems a strange claim to fame, but I'm willing to take it.
It was 1993. Bill Granger's ability to make the ordinary extraordinary carved out a new tourism niche, Australia's food.
Scrambled eggs with such elegance, with white tablecloth and beautiful coffee.
And he taught himself.
And I'd never cooked professionally in a kitchen, so I had to work out what to do.
Bill's in Australia became Bill's worldwide.
Did you know this was a famous restaurant here?
Oh yes, it's very famous in Japan too.
And in the UK, cooking royalty, who even schooled the chefs in Buckingham Palace.
And a marshmallow inside. Yeah, gooey, it's very important.
London is where Bill Granger lived and died Christmas Day from cancer. Family broke the news about the king of breakfast. From celebrity chef Matt Preston, he helped shape the image of modern Australian food. From Jamie Oliver, I admired everything he represented. And Nigella Lawson, I'm heartbroken to hear this, so cruel. Not just because of his ingenuity.
A nice twist on the room service favourite.
He was also humble, charming, a family man with a smile that exuded the warmth of a man who loved what he did. Famous for avo and eggs, you bet.
Australian cafe classics, and that's me on a plate.
Thank you so much for being with us today. It's a pleasure, and thank you for introducing the world to Australian cafe culture. Thank you.
Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
A man is in hospital following a brawl at a Boxing Day party that stretched into the early hours of this morning. Detectives from Midland cordoned off the front yard of the Santona Boulevard home as a crime scene. At 4:30 this morning, a man in his 40s was discovered with a serious head injury. He was taken to Midland Hospital in a stable condition. Anyone who was in the area between midnight and 6 a.m. should call police. An Australian man and his wife have died after their building was reportedly hit by an airstrike south of Lebanon. It's understood 27-year-old Ibrahim Bazi had flown from Sydney to visit his partner, Sharuk Hamoud, who just acquired a visa so they could move to Australia. Lebanese media outlets are reporting a missile was fired at a number of homes in the area by an Israeli warplane. And there are fears the Israel-Hamas war could spill into a wider conflict after an Iraqi militant group launched an attack on American troops. The US responded with its own missile assault, described by Iraq's Prime Minister as a hostile act.
The aftermath of a US airstrike, 3 Iraqi military positions targeted. Retaliation for a drone attack on a US airbase in northern Iraq, injuring troops. One of them is critical. La ilaha illallah! Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants claimed responsibility. The US payback, ordered by the President Joe Biden, labelled a clear and hostile act by Iraq's Prime Minister. The National Security Council saying the United States will act at a time and in a manner of our choosing should these attacks continue. And they have been, only escalating since the Hamas invasion. There's been more than 100 attacks on US bases in Iraq and Syria as Houthi rebels continue to cause terror in the Red Sea. The Israeli military releasing footage of what it says was a hostile aerial target shot down. From the Israeli Defence Minister, we are in a multi-front war under attack from 7 different theatres: Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen and Iran. The US Defence Chief previously warning of a widening conflict.
Iran is raising
tensions by continuing to support terrorist groups and militias.
The World Health Organization says almost all hospitals in Gaza have stopped functioning, senior Hamas officials accusing America of hypocrisy. In the United States, Jacqueline Robson, 7 News.
A third body has been recovered after a boat capsized in Queensland's Moreton Bay with 11 people on board. It brings the number of people killed in the East Coast storms to 10. Among them, a 9-year-old girl found dead after getting swept into stormwater drains in Brisbane South.
A Boxing Day beating, wiping out Wynnum and the Bayside.
The windows are shaking.
Uprooting giant trees, ripping off the roof at the local state school.
It was so loud and there was so much rain and wind that you couldn't really see what was going on either.
The third supercell in as many days, its ferocity taking everyone by surprise.
And there was just waves of storm cells, one after the other. And the first few were quite mild, and then it got really, really intense.
These storms have hit very, very highly populated areas.
Wind gusts so strong they lifted and tipped boats at Manly weighing almost 2 tonnes.
That whirly tornado came through and it's just picked up these two. And then it's gone through to take out the boat club down there. We didn't need this today.
The owners now left to deal with thousands of dollars in damages.
All boats are expensive to fix.
Nathan and Natel Rogers' car and their neighbour's roof both casualties of fallen branches.
It was pretty loud. Very windy, and we were just concerned about all the trees, really.
We usually miss it here, though. I feel like this is probably the worst our area's copped it over the years, I would say.
The intensity of the cell sky high, putting on a show for passengers on a flight from Brisbane to Adelaide.
There were 250,000 lightning strikes the day before yesterday, another 150,000 lightning strikes yesterday.
Sean Kelly, her partner, and their 7 children are still cleaning up from the Christmas night storm.
Oh my God!
The wind was going crazy, quickly ran inside, and as we closed the door we thought lightning hit the house.
Their Flagstone home destroyed.
I don't even know how to describe it other than it was like a cyclone.
With a major clean-up effort now underway across Brisbane, the City Council is making it free to drop green waste at any dump between now and New Year's Eve.
SES are dealing with nearly 1,000 requests for assistance. That is a very heavy workload for them.
A typical Queensland summer, unpredictable and unrelenting. Anna McGraw, 7 News.
4 boys have been plucked to safety after their boat ran into trouble on the south coast. Albany Sea Rescue used a water drone to help rescue the group, who became stranded after crashing their boat. It was the first major operation using the Dolphin 1 water drone, which towed the 4 back to the rescue vessel. Support for the government has fallen nationwide as Australians continue to feel cost of living pain. There are also renewed calls for an independent inquiry into grocery prices, with the big supermarkets coming under pressure from customers.
This Christmas at Coles,
they promised to bring down prices.
At Woolworths, we believe it's the little things that make Christmas special.
But according to the Federal Nationals, the supermarket giants continue to rip off customers.
We need to have big penalties for supermarkets that abuse consumers and abuse the suppliers.
Tonight, renewing calls for an independent inquiry by the consumer watchdog to look at price gouging and profits.
This could have been done before Christmas, and Australians paid more at Christmas because of this Albanese government.
Farmers say the price of beef and lamb has fallen by up to 70% at the farm gate, but that's not being reflected at the checkout.
Consumers aren't getting the value that they should. And as farmers, we're concerned that somebody along that supply chain is pocketing more than what they should.
Today, Coles and Woolies told 7 News their prices have increased due to inflation, particularly energy and transport costs. It's hoped a Senate inquiry next year will get to the bottom of it.
They don't understand and appreciate the cost of living crisis that's out there.
And it seems cost of living is costing Labor support, with 2 opinion polls released today showing voters are turning on the government in 2 battleground states. Primary support has dropped to 33% in Queensland, 34% in WA in the Reserve poll, while News poll shows support from voters aged 35 to 49 has fallen. Labor still leads the coalition though, and promised to do more on cost of living next year. Jennifer Beshwati, 7 News.
The true partnership between the King and Queen has been revealed in a new documentary. The behind-the-scenes look at the build-up to Charles' coronation reveals special family moments for the royals and the late Queen's final wishes.
One of the most watched moments of 2023.
God save the King!
Behind the scenes, there were nerves.
And I think there was a sense of, I can't believe it, we've made it.
What's described as organised chaos in the rehearsals.
We often remark upon how grateful we are that our schools did a lot of drama, and both of us spent time on stage. It's really good training.
And a family no longer afraid to be human.
They're clearly a very close family, of all the generations.
Part of it all, Queen Camilla's sister.
When I thought back of, being 2 years old and watching the Queen's coronation, on a tiny black and white television. And there goes this golden coach with my sister in it.
The documentary, broadcast in the UK, focuses on the final preparations for the coronation, but also reveals the late Queen's final conversations before her 2022 death.
I think there was a moment when she felt that it would be more difficult if she died at Balmoral. And I think we did try and persuade her that shouldn't be part of the decision-making process. He takes the crown off the coffin. I rather weirdly felt a sense of relief.
Returning to Balmoral, Their Majesties are seen at work and at play.
She is his rock, and I can't actually emphasise that enough. She's somebody who is completely loyal.
A royal partnership celebrated. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
Weather time now with Syan, Vallence, and Syan. That cool change is pretty much past.
Yep, hope you enjoyed it while you could, Tim. We've had 2 days in a row well under the December average, but it will start warming up again from tomorrow. We only reached a top of 25.8 degrees around 2 this afternoon after a low of 17. Around the suburbs, Bullsbrook and Ellenbrook saw tops of 29 degrees, and it was 25 all along the coast from Scarborough to Mandurah. But while the metro area has been cloudy and cool, there have been storms up in the Kimberley and light rain around Albany. Unfortunately, it missed Esperance. The fire there has been downgraded, but fire authorities are on alert as the weather warms up again. There is a heat wave warning for parts of the state. I'll break down our updated forecast after sport.
Thank you, Si. You're watching 7 News live from Perth. Coming up, police called to the state's far north. Detectives investigating the death of a woman in Broome. Details next. A driver's death-defying escape from a dangling truck. Plus, a real-life Home Alone moment. A little boy who ended up on the wrong flight. And a boom in safety apps. The new free feature from Apple. That's later. The homicide squad has charged a 30-year-old man with murder after a 34-year-old woman was found with fatal injuries in a home near Cable Beach in Broome on Christmas afternoon. The man was known to the victim. He's facing one charge of murder and will front the Broome Magistrates Court tomorrow. Firefighters have saved the life of a truck driver who was left dangling from an overpass when his rig tumbled over the edge. He lost control on a wet road. Rescuers had to secure the 18-wheeler before they could pull him out of the driver's seat. He was taken to hospital but wasn't seriously injured. There were 2 other crashes nearby as distracted drivers tried to capture the incident on video. A little boy in the US has lived out a real-life version of the movie Home Alone after being placed on the wrong flight. The 6-year-old was whisked more than 260 kilometres away from his family when he was boarded onto a plane to Orlando instead of Fort Myers.
He said, "Mom, where are you? I don't see you. I got out the plane." I said, "What you mean you got out the plane?" He said, "Yes, I'm here. I land. I'm in the airport."
The airline has apologised for the mix-up. Almost 1 million people are under severe weather alerts in the US, with a blizzard grounding flights and causing traffic snarls. Up to 15 centimetres of snow has fallen in the country's northern and central plains, with storms packing 100-kilometre-an-hour winds and freezing rain. There have been several crashes on icy roads, one woman dying when she was struck by an out-of-control truck in Kansas. Dolly Parton has helped fulfil a dying fan's wish. When Legrand Gold found out his chemo wasn't working, he compiled a list of things he still wanted to do, which included meeting the country music superstar. So Dolly called him up and serenaded him over the phone.
Hey, LG.
Hey.
Dolly P. Just know that I will always love you.
Oh.
Okay, well, I should have sung that, shouldn't I?
Yeah, were you?
I will always love you.
She told him she was happy to know she'd touched his life in some small way. There's a neck-and-neck battle playing out tonight off Tasmania as Super Maxi's Law Connect and Comanche race for the finish in the Sydney-Hobart Ocean Classic. Huge seas and howling winds have proven disastrous for yachts further back in the fleet.
Ugly and under pressure. This is what 24 hours of racing looks like. At the halfway mark, two Maxis in a game of cat and mouse across Bass Strait. Neck and neck, separated by just 4 nautical miles, Law Connect put the foot down.
Oh, it's awesome. We just overtook Comanche and we're winning the race, so that's what we live for.
But defending champion Comanche wasn't going to back down, slipping in front, an arm wrestle spanning hours.
We've been changing leads all night.
The weather also an ever-changing beast. Relentless rain, gusting winds, huge swells. No amount of preparation could prepare sailors for this.
We did rip one of our big sails, so that's a shame, and it may cost us later.
Dreams of a line honours win shattered for Super Maxi Scallywag, wiped out of the race with a broken bowsprit.
It's a shame they're not there. It's a better race if they're there.
And the retirements kept rolling in. Despite a strong start, Georgia Express had to cut ties.
Latest update, we decided to retire because our days are coming loose. The whole rig has come a bit loose.
Rum Rebellion didn't bring home the silverware, but instead a story of survival. The two-man crew hit by a burst of wind, thrown metres out to sea, Shane Connolly almost didn't make it back. Among the other casualties, Sticky and Currawong, the vessels still out at sea, are giving it all they've got. The race record is now firmly out of reach, with the front runners about 12 hours behind the 2017 finish time. But that won't deter this year's competitors, who will do whatever it takes to get here to Constitution Dock. And when they do, the party will be waiting. Annie Puller, 7 News.
After the break, an Australian's insight to the Israel-Hamas conflict. Next, meet the war vlogger giving civilians a voice through his online channel. A young man fighting for life after a shocking scooter smash in Perth. The winners with 30 million reasons to smile this new year. Saving the Australian trees from the age of the dinosaurs. And the Bunnings boom that's reshaping how we entertain at home. That's soon.
I know you can win. You know you can win. There is nothing stopping you. It's fast.
Yes.
It's free.
Yes.
It's easy to play.
Free cricket tipping. Big prizes. Get a taste of victory this summer at thegame.com.au.
Military personnel and police have spent a second day disarming and seizing weapons from a gun collector's home in Jane Brook. 2 rifles were removed today and bags full of other items, but police won't confirm rocket launchers are among the items they found. The homeowner died of natural causes on Friday. A former Australian soldier battling terminal cancer is back home after spending a month in Israel. The 27-year-old was discharged from the army on medical grounds, but now visits war zones to give civilians a voice.
Running for his life, scrambling to find shelter as missiles rain over Israel.
Move.
These terrifying scenes all captured by Adelaide man Matt Williams.
Is Willie out there? Yeah, I'm here, right.
The former soldier's been to countless war zones.
Yeah. They're coming right in our direction. Yeah, they are.
This time he's not fighting the battle but reporting on it.
I'm just there as like a people's reporter, just talking to people and sharing my experience.
Giving civilians a voice through his online channel.
We have one country and we're gonna do all the best to save our country.
The 27-year-old was forced to leave the army after being diagnosed with terminal brain cancer 5 years ago. It's inoperable.
When I had the diagnosis, I was like, oh, damn. 24 hours before, it was like everything was okay, and now everything's gone bad.
But that's never held him back.
I sort of craved that sort of job again, and I saw a bit of a hole in the market.
Israel has actually hit an Egyptian post. You can just see that behind me there.
I got into Ukraine a month before the war started. So I landed in Ukraine with sort of this idea that something may kick off. Well, I got saved by the Iron Dome multiple times of the rockets coming in. And some were just luck too. We did have a few rockets hit where the Iron Dome didn't engage.
After spending a month in Israel covering the Gaza conflict, Matt is now back in Adelaide, but still keeping his 160,000 loyal followers informed.
We have to support Ukraine in both good and bad times.
Treating every day like it's his last.
They're always very upfront that like, Matt, yeah, I know everything's going well, but this will get you. Like, it's guaranteed to get you. We just don't know if it's going to be 12 months, 10 years. At the moment, I just live as if I don't have it and just move on. I've really accepted it. It's just a part of who I am.
Mitchell Sariovsky, 7 News.
A 20-year-old man is fighting for life in Royal Perth Hospital after his e-scooter hit a car in Riverton around 2 p.m. yesterday. The rider was rushed to Royal Perth Hospital. It comes as authorities issue a road safety warning following 5 fatalities in WA over 4 days, including 2 separate Christmas crash tragedies. 3 mystery men are each more than $32 million richer tonight after sharing the Division 1 jackpot in Oz Lotto's mega draw. Unfortunately for WA players, there were no winners here. All 3 are from Sydney.
1 in 3 Australians had a ticket, but the chances of actually winning the jackpot were 1 in 62 million. But 3 people defied the odds, and we imagine those phone calls went something like this.
Show me the money! Each took home $32.6 million. They're all sort of middle-aged men. They all have young children.
One was from Fairfield, another from Campbelltown, a dad from Sutherland took his share too. The Barella news agency sold one of the winning tickets.
And he can buy another one and try to win another lucky one.
Too much money for me. People come out from everywhere. All the relatives you didn't even know you had.
I'll be doing a lot of fishing. A lot of fishing.
I'd cruise for the rest of my life.
Holden, Monaro. Probably Bohouse. Somewhere around Campbelltown because I love Campbelltown.
Kind of anywhere but here, honestly. Somewhere on the beach would be great.
But if we're dreaming big, why not this Italian castle for sale? Or if you really want to reach for the stars, you could afford a one-way ticket to the moon. While it's easy to get carried away when we're talking about this much money and tempting to buy something like a gold necklace or see how many rings you can fit on your fingers, before you jump the gun, some words of wisdom.
Run, don't walk to a financial planner.
They will come here and happy to serve them.
Because a little bling can't hurt. Amy Clements, 7 News.
Australia's Wallamai pines are older than the dinosaurs but are now critically endangered. Tonight, 7 News has been given an exclusive look at the global effort to save the species from extinction.
Prehistoric precious cargo packed with care and shipped to botanic gardens across the globe in an emergency effort. Inside the boxes, more than 200 baby Wallamai pines.
This is a unique Australian icon, a living fossil, so to speak.
An insurance policy for a species older than the dinosaurs and under threat.
This has been a project nearly 30 years in the making, and we have conscripted an international team to make this happen. International scientists to help look at the DNA, our scientists here on the ground at the Botanic Gardens.
From North America to Europe and even the UK, where a young wallamai was planted by the King in Western Burt earlier this month, His Royal Highness giving the conservation effort a royal seal of approval.
The wallamai pine is such a great story of species survival. I mean, everyone thought this is a type of pine that had been extinct
for 60 million years, until a tiny colony of just under 100 trees was discovered in a remote canyon in the Blue Mountains. A botanical miracle making world headlines. Work has continued non-stop to make sure they don't perish. The Black Summer fires came dangerously close.
This baby wallamai will grow quickly, up to 1 metre a year, and one day it will tower over us at around 40 metres.
The next challenge, whether the pines will thrive so far from home. Serena Andaloro, 7 News.
Still to come, a new Bunnings boom. A surging trend why Aussies are choosing to spend their savings around the home. Why loneliness and stress are being linked to rising risks of early dementia. Team Australia global tennis stars head to Lotto ahead of a major tennis tournament.
And coming up in sport, Australia left battered and bruised but in control at the MCG. And out or not out, the confusing umpiring call in the Big Bash.
Now, Fuel Watch. Perth's petrol prices brought to you by Fuel Watch and 7 News.
Checking finance, and the Australian share market rallied in the first session after Christmas. The ASX 200 closed 59 points up. Rio Tinto, BHP and Fortescue all rose after the price of iron ore hit an 18-month high. 1 Australian dollar is buying 68.3 US cents and 53 British pence. New data from Bunnings Warehouse shows Aussies are cutting their entertainment budgets by sprucing up their homes. 2 in 3 people are planning to spend more time at home this summer to cope with cost of living pressures.
Homeowners are dusting off the cobwebs to spend more time at home over the new year.
We've freshened up the exterior.
New data shows 2 in 3 Aussies are cutting back on going out, instead spending whatever cash they have on upgrading their communal spaces.
We've extended out the back, off the back of the kitchen with a new entertaining space. A lot of our friends are in the same position, so it's more barbecues, more dinner parties, and we're really having a great time at home.
Well, cost of living is expensive, very expensive. So that's why we're doing DIY.
It's a surging trend. Bunnings Warehouse recorded an increase in customers doing more DIY projects. 70% of Australians are spending more on bulk cleaning supplies. 67% are upgrading their gardens, and 57% are spending more on their outdoor entertaining areas.
We're seeing a lot in the barbecue space, we're seeing a lot in the outdoor furniture space. Customers, they're really looking for value type options more than they were in previous years.
Barbecues are one of the hottest items, including shades and gazebos, as customers prepare for a hot summer predicted.
Just fixing up our balcony, getting a table for it.
And just a bit of house organisation and tidy up, just, to get things ready for the new year.
Most weekends on the back deck, barbecue on, a few cool drinks in the cooler as well.
Kathleen O'Connor, 7 News.
A new study suggests loneliness and chronic stress could increase the risk of developing early dementia. Researchers in the UK have been tracking the health data of more than 350,000 men and women, and they found similarities among those who develop the disease early, including alcohol abuse, diabetes and stroke. But other risk factors were more surprising, like social isolation, stress, low vitamin D, and even living with hearing loss. International tennis stars are descending on Perth ahead of the United Cup. $10 million in prize money is up for grabs, attracting top players, including world number 1 Novak Djokovic. Reporter Lucy Murray caught up with Team Australia at a special training session.
Team Australia's tennis stars served a taste of WA.
What I've done is I've got
that fantastic West Australian rock lobster.
Okay, I'll be the judge of that.
World number 12, Alex de Minaur, acing his smiling selfie, following in the footsteps of other tennis greats.
They weren't very receptive, so we had to get into some tough spots to try and get that perfect selfie.
The Aussie team on Rottnest Island in support of Tourism WA. It's home turf for double stars Storm Hunter and Matt Ebden.
We know we have beautiful beaches and weather and all those things, but it's a little bit of a secret, I think, to the rest of Australia and the world.
This is all about making sure that we have events throughout the year, events around peak times to encourage more Australians to travel to Perth.
The United Cup is played between Sydney and Perth, but WA has done well in the draw. Perth Arena will host Team Australia and Team Serbia, which features world number 1 Novak Djokovic. The Aussies' first match on Friday is against the UK.
Alex de Minaur has a difficult choice about who to barrack for in the first mixed doubles match. His girlfriend Katie Boulter is playing for Great Britain.
Yeah, the game plan is to win.
The Australian-UK rivalry stronger than ever ahead of match 1. Lucy Murray, 7 News.
Barra's here with Sport now, and Barra, a captain's performance from Pat Cummins today.
It sure was, Timmy, yes. Needing a spark with the ball, it was the skipper who delivered for Australia at the MCG. That's next. Coming up, all the highlights as Australia takes control of the second test with their captain in the thick of it. And Andrew Ty's fancy footwork brings the Renegades undone. Welcome back. Pat Cummins has led a spirited fight back for the Aussies on day 2 of the Boxing Day test. Pakistan put Australia under pressure in the first 2 sessions before the skipper snared 3 vital wickets, leaving the visitors 6 down and trailing by 124 runs.
What a difference a day makes. Better weather, better batting.
And runs now, a lovely shot.
From Marnus Labuschagne, from the tourists, better bowling and fielding.
Oh, and taken! Head's on his way.
Travis Head well snared for 17, earning 2 reprieves in 2 balls on review. Mitch Marsh survived and thrived.
Well, you wondered when he might go. And he's gone.
Matching his top score at the MCG, Marnus made 63, rewarding a delighted Amir Jamal. On only 4, Alex Carey well gloved by rival keeper Mohammad Rizwan.
Brilliantly held. Superb bit of catching.
A head blow for Marsh on his way to 41. Pat Cummins struck in a more dangerous position, the captain copping a couple of throat balls before making 13. Plenty of argument and replays over this claimed catch, ruled not out. The host's first innings total, 318, all 10 Australians caught. 502 wickets and counting. The GOAT Nathan Lyon pumped, but before riding off, the tourists went to the host's heads. Pakistan drove and quickly scampered past 100 as Head brought back the G's Bay 13. Cue Australia's can-do captain.
The break.
Cummins doing it all himself to snare Shafiq for 62. His double breakthrough, also a solo act.
Got him! Right through him! Cummins has done it again!
Gun batter Babar Azan done between bat and pad.
Yeah, it's a dream ball. That's what you try and bowl most balls, but it's rare that it comes off, so yeah, really happy that one.
No kingpin triggered a collapse. Masood plucked out of the sun by Marsh. No denying a first wicket for Josh Hazlewood. Cummins 3 for 37. Andrew McKinlay, 7 News.
And the Perth Scorchers survived the worst batting collapse in their history last night when they lost 7 wickets for just 5 runs. Plus, they had to deal with a batting masterclass from one of WA's greatest players, Shaun Marsh. But ultimately, they knocked off the Melbourne Renegades, winning by 13 runs at Optus Stadium. Andrew Ty with the luckiest run out of the tournament after the ball cannoned off his boot.
I can see a clear deviation as it passes the foot. Ready to make my decision.
A stunning 42,000 fans thought that was fantastic and turned out for the game. The Scorchers extending their unbeaten streak to 9 matches. And first it was Mitch Starc in the Ashes, now Moses Enriquez in the Big Bash. Calls are growing for cricket's rules to be changed after the Sixers captain's contentious catch against the Stars last night. Tom Rogers was given out. And bring on more red ball cricket, that's what Australia's women are saying after their first test on Indian soil in almost 40 years, and that despite their first ever loss to their hosts.
I can't see why not. It's certainly really exciting. We only get to play 1 or 2 test matches a season, and this year we've probably played more test matches than the last 5 years.
Australia and India play the first of 3 one-dayers starting tomorrow night. And we might get an early preview of the Australian Open final and the great tennis that's ahead. On his way to Perth, 10-time champion Novak Djokovic takes on Wimbledon champ Carlos Alcaraz in a lucrative one-off exhibition match tonight.
Our era is coming to an end, but you have Alcaraz emerging, which is great.
And Alex de Minaur took to the beach at Lotto ahead of the United Cup and is staying clear of a potential mixed doubles showdown against his own girlfriend, Katie Boulter from Britain.
Just giving each other a little bit of crap, but it was fun. We enjoyed it, and it's going to be a very interesting experience.
Team Australia faced Great Britain on Friday, and of course there were the obligatory quokka selfies at Lotto. De Minaur, Ayla Tomljanovic and 2 of WA's very own double stars, Storm Hunter and Matt Ebden, enjoyed our holiday isle. No chance of a race record, but it's shaping to be one of the tightest finishes to the Sydney-Hobart yacht race ever. Andu Kamachi holds a narrow lead over Law Connect, 153 nautical miles out from the finish line. There's been 6 retirements so far. The winner is likely to cross the line tomorrow morning. And Liverpool has reclaimed top spot in the Premier League, going 2 points clear of Arsenal with a 2-0 win over Burnley. Down 2-0 at half-time to Aston Villa, a 19-year-old rising star scored twice as Manchester United fought back. Kiwi Chris Wood scored a hat-trick against former club Newcastle in Nottingham Forest's 3-1 win. And it's official, the Detroit Pistons have the longest single-season losing streak in NBA history. Today's 118-112 defeat to the Nets was their 27th in a row. Aussie Josh Giddey scored 10 on his return from injury as Oklahoma City Thunder beat Minnesota. OK, Tim, now I know you absolutely love cricket. Our coverage starts at 6:30 tomorrow. First ball, 9:20.
I'll be there on the couch. Thanks,
7,
Barich.
mate.
Thank you. Tech giant Apple has launched a new free safety feature to help customers protect themselves and others on the streets. It follows a boom in safety apps being downloaded to help keep people safe.
Phones are typically the first things we reach for in an emergency situation. To help, tech giant Apple has built a free safety feature in its newest upgrade called Check-In.
Check-In is meant for those moments when a loved one tells you to text them when you get there.
The latest in a booming safety apps industry.
Personal security apps are actually definitely picking up in popularity. People do want to feel more secure, and we have the capability right in our pockets.
And it's no surprise the trend mirrors an increase in crime.
It's got about 140,000 people on it at the moment around the world. Road rage, assaults, they're the main things we're actually hearing.
Ross is hoping to police his local streets with an app called Safey. His wife used it after getting caught in the middle of a road rage incident.
Check it out. Take it into self. It's actually a safety app and it's designed for people like you.
There was quite a few people that had asked him to leave her alone and stop, and he was getting more and more aggressive. This woman who didn't have anybody with her was feeling very vulnerable.
When they're in a bad situation, they hit the panic button. Now the panic button will then start taking photos from the front and back camera, record live sound and GPS location.
It led police to an arrest. Officers will be doing extra patrols, particularly in tourist hotspots over the New Year period. But for some extra protection,
tap the button and press panic, and that's all you have to do.
Kathleen O'Connor, 7 News.
Syan, Vallence has your weather next, and so we might need some extra protection from the sun tomorrow.
You sure will, Tim. After a mild couple of days, it's heating up. Prepare the sunscreen and your favourite hat. I'll have all your weather details next. Hello again. We saw some summer sunshine without the heat today. Pretty mild for summer. That won't last. We only reached 25.8 degrees this afternoon after an overnight low of 17. Right now in the city, it's 22.9 degrees and the winds are southwesterly. Around the suburbs today, Armidale reached 26, Joondalup 27, and the tennis players on Lotto were treated to a 24-degree top. Now, we did have some cloud cover over the state today, with rain in parts of the state's south. Overall, fairly calm conditions. Tomorrow, it is mostly hot, dry and clear for WA, except for some thunderstorms up in the Pilbara. Looking at the national forecast, those horrendous storms are finally easing on the east coast. It'll be mostly sunny for Sydney tomorrow, 36 for Brisbane, but there is a possible shower for day 3 of the test in Melbourne, 21 degrees there. Back in WA, there is a heat wave warning for the northeast of the state. It will be dry and very hot all the way from the Pilbara through the goldfields. Now, if the warmer weather is tempting you onto the boat tomorrow, the winds will shift throughout the day. Seas will increase to 2 metres, swell to 1 metre. And it'll be mostly sunny in Perth tomorrow. We're expecting a top of 31 with southeasterly winds. Then a west coast trough forms off the coast on Friday. That's going to push the temperature even higher. A sunny max of 34 expected. Then a warm weekend too. It'll be 35 on Saturday with the chance of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Then it'll drop down to 30 degrees for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, 32 on Tuesday, then 33 and sunny on Wednesday. Finally tonight, we all missed out on the $90 million yesterday, but you could still win $1 million tonight. The winning Wednesday Lotto numbers are 20, 30, 29, 15, 17, 23, and the supplementaries are 21 and 31. Those numbers again, 20, 30, 29, 15, 17, 23, and the sups are 21 and 31. Tim.
Thank you, Syan. That is 7 News for this Wednesday. I'll be back with updates throughout the evening. Stay with us now, though, for the force behind the line. Enjoy the rest of your night here on 7.